Tonight, fleeing the flames.
We had the crews in there and they saved many, many homes.
Homes destroyed, residents ordered to leave. We're live with the latest on a raging wildfire in the Okanagan. And he's accused of killing his own mother. Now, a murder suspect comes face to face with the father he allegedly wanted dead too.
This is CTV News.
Good evening. A wildfire that has destroyed several homes in the Okanagan community of Peachland is still burning tonight, still out of control. CTV News at 6 anchor Tamara Taggart is on assignment with breaking news tonight. And Tamara, hundreds of people under evacuation order are just learning they can go home tonight?
That's right, Mike. 1,100 people are breathing a giant sigh of relief right now. For them, the evacuation order has been lifted thanks in large part to the amazing work of the firefighters. The 200-hectare fire is only 50% contained. Today, crews made good progress, but it wasn't enough to save 4 homes. Chopper 9 flew over the fire zone for an aerial perspective. Firefighters say Mother Nature helped with cooler temperatures and higher humidity. Helicopters and water bombers attacked the flames, while firefighters on the ground battled the blaze on foot and with heavy equipment. About 400 people are still out of their homes. CTV's Okanagan Bureau Chief Kent Mulgat begins our coverage with a closer look at the damage and the intense effort by firefighters here in Peachland to gain the upper hand.
Charred remains are all that's left of a log home in Peachland, and the neighboring carriage home is also destroyed.
We trained for years, they trained for years to save houses, to save property, and then when you lose one, it tugs at your heart. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the business.
While at the nearby Working Horse Winery, a home was burned completely to the ground, and the vineyards themselves also took the brunt. Counting an unoccupied older home, 4 were lost. The ruins of the homes as far as 3 kilometers from where the wildfire broke out yesterday. The fire moved that distance in an hour and a half, fueled by intense winds. Firefighters couldn't stop it. At the peak of its fury, the fire burned so intensely it began to generate so much smoke the aircraft could no longer bomb it from above. While on the ground, municipal crews did everything they could to hold their ground, even working directly in the fire's path.
They saved many, many homes. The wind blew the fires into those homes. They tried to save them as best they could with the apparatus, the water they had on board. They tried their best to save them. They saved many homes, but unfortunately, there was some that they did not save.
I witnessed the fire department in front in some cases, and our bucket ships were supporting them to make sure they were safe while they're protecting certain homes.
Today, with a portion of the perimeter of the wildfire still burning out of control, the top priority is putting out burning trees and hotspots near homes. Last night, for over 1,500 evacuees, for some, it was just an inconvenience.
So we're going to be a while before they call our number.
Others wondered if they would have a home to return to.
I was kind of scared, for my house. I don't know what's going on.
Do you know that your house is okay?
I have no clue still.
The owners of these 2 homes were informed of their loss today, but the people who were out here last night say there very easily could have been more.
Yeah, our crew saved a lot of houses, with us and the air support.
Retardant was dropped right onto some homes. It's believed that saved a few. In other cases, it was just luck as the fire cut so close, taking out outbuildings and leaving homes standing. The fire is just 50% contained, but it's hoped that for this fire, 4 homes is enough.
And Kent, we're noticing a lot less smoke in behind us. There was quite a bit this morning when we were here, most of the day. Any clues on the cause of this fire?
Well, I don't know precisely about a cause, but we have a pretty good idea of where it started. At the end of the Trepanier Creek Valley, just where Trepanier Road meets up with Highway 97C, we've seen investigators for 2 days poring over one piece of ground. It would be consistent with a cigarette butt tossed out the window, but we have yet to hear exactly what got this thing started.
All right, thanks a lot, Kent. And while some evacuees prepare to return home tonight and about 400 others wait for the green light, a few have come to grips with the reality that their homes are no longer standing. CTV's Scott Roberts has that part of the story.
This is our winery right here.
Walter Huber pores over aerial footage, learning for the first time that his home and his winery are still standing. This the last image he snapped before fleeing. He wasn't sure it would still be there.
It looks like we are still okay there. It looks like there's some fires in here, and it looks like there has been some burning over in here, as you can see. But the winery building is right over in here, so that one looks still okay.
The news is much worse for his neighbors. This log home ravaged by fire, and this home on the former Working Horse winery gutted. Tillman Heinley lived there for 40 years before selling the property in May. We reached him by phone.
I helped build that house and grew up in it. Still quite heart-wrenching to see it just being consumed within a very short period of time.
And some witnessed it firsthand. John Hannaberry ignored the evacuation order to protect his home.
It was scary. It was very scary. Hearing houses around me explode, like two blocks up, you hearing the houses explode.
For some of those who fled, the night was a long one. Amanda Elliott and her family spent much of it at Tim Hortons. They say they had nowhere else to go.
I was like in tears and in anxiety watching all the people all over the road and just like freaking out. I started to cry because I felt so alone.
As the fight against the fire continues, so does the wait for many, anxious to get a glimpse of the aftermath, but glad it wasn't worse.
Part of me is like, we've got what stuff is important to us. I mean, now it's just, they're material item things, right? So it's out of our control.
Meantime, Walter Huber is thankful he can see what's left of his property and glad it's still there.
It's just amazing. Like I was standing up there when the fire started, and I just couldn't believe how quick it actually went everywhere.
And Scott, we've both been here all day speaking to evacuees. What have you been hearing?
Well, most people are really just desperate to get back into their homes. You know, it's one thing to be able to hear from officials that most of the homes are okay. It's another thing to see it firsthand. You know, people are coming up to us at evacuation centers, even here on the highway, people stopping, asking us for information. You know, we did the best we could to help them out. We showed Walter that video of his property, but again, it's something else to see it for themselves, to see it firsthand. And fortunately tonight, many families are going to be able to do just that.
Yeah, it's interesting. A few people that I spoke to, they already had bags packed, like they were expecting something like this to happen.
It's true, and that's what people in this part of BC are used to. I mean, they are used to wildfires. They're used to it happening. Most of them are prepared. They're ready for this, but again, nothing fully prepares you, I don't think, and that's what we're hearing from people for something like this that happens so quickly and so aggressively. And so most are happy to see what we see in behind us tonight, and that this fire appears to be more under control, at least than it was for a lot of the day.
And about 1,100 people happy to go home tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks a lot, Scott. Well, one of the evacuees is the mayor of Peachland himself. I'll have his story, plus a rancher's desperate search for a lost calf. That's coming up a little later on CTV News at 6. But first, let's go back to Mike in Vancouver.
All right, Tamara, thank you very much. Meteorologist Michael Koos is tracking the all-important weather conditions in Peachland. And Michael, what's ahead for those fire crews there?
You know what, there is some good news, Mike, and that's the winds tapering off. Not so much more precipitation, and this starts off with the radar taking us back to early this morning, through the morning hours and into the afternoon. Most of the consistent precipitation was a little farther to the north, through the Kelowna area, but down toward Peachland, just a little band of light precip through around the 4 to 5 a.m. hour, and then that was about it. Now, here's what it looks like through the next 24 hours. Very quiet. Nothing really happening in the way of precipitation over that period. Here's what we saw in the way of maximum wind gusts today, and it is still breezy out there currently. Winds pushing 40 kilometers per hour in Kelowna, in Penticton, down to Osuyu. So through the entire region, we're seeing 40-plus kilometer per hour winds, and that's still expected through the evening period. These bubbles of purple showing that strong wind, but by about 10 p.m., everything will taper off.
Still to come, a 21st century way to put out fires.
As you can see, it's burning very hot.
It's a new type of fire retardant that actually takes the heat out of the fire.
And you feel no heat?
I feel no heat under my hand.
This you have to see next.
Emergency responders in Metro Vancouver are being armed with a new tool that can help save lives, and it's a technology you might also consider for your own home.
My hand is covered in cold fire, and this cloth is covered in cold fire. And as you can see, it's burning very hot.
5,000 degrees hot, in fact. Yet Cold Fire President Grant Pearson's bare hand is protected. And you feel no heat?
I feel no heat under my hand. As a matter of fact, Linda, if you want, you can see that we went through the cloth a little bit, but you can feel the cloth underneath.
Wow, I'm holding the cloth and I absolutely can feel just a tiny, tiny bit of heat. Metro Vancouver firefighters are training with the cold fire product. While most fire extinguishers smother the flames, cold fire takes the heat out of the flames, and that could mean the difference between life and death in a vehicle fire.
Cold fire will actually take away the BTUs, the heat, around the person and the individual that's doing the rescuing to allow them to get into the vehicle, get that person out.
That is the ethanol, and boy.
The non-toxic plant-based product is also saving lives on professional racetracks and being used by emergency workers on both sides of the border. Cold fire was used to put out this plane crash fire in Richmond last year. And BC police are using the product too. After the Stanley Cup mayhem last year, it was decided firefighters would be embedded in riot squads in the future. And they may soon be equipped with cold fire backpacks.
What he's wearing here is a new tactical backpack that is a totally self-contained fire extinguishing system.
Deputy Fire Chief Joe Foster is impressed with what he's seen so far.
The backpack is extremely effective, easy to carry, it's very comfortable, so we're looking at every option that we have.
And as more communities face the threat posed by wildfires, homeowners may consider dousing their properties in a spin-off product called Fire Block that repels the flames.
It gives you that thermal protective barrier, where as you can see, it won't allow fire to spread.
You're watching CTV News.
And to our top story now, that aggressive wildfire in the Okanagan. Tamara Taggart anchoring our continuing coverage of the state of emergency in Peachland. Tamara, over to you.
Mike, wind isn't helping the firefighting efforts today, although firefighters are making progress that's led to a partial lifting of the evacuation order here. The blaze is still just 50% contained, and Fire Chief Grant Topham says the gusts of wind are acting like flamethrowers. Despite the valiant efforts of fire crews, 4 homes have burned. The ruins are up to 3 kilometers from where the wildfire broke out yesterday. And late this afternoon, I caught up with one of the evacuees from Peachland, and he just happens to be the mayor. Keith Fielding spoke with us and other Peachland residents at the evacuation center in West Kelowna about the firefighters on the front line and their heroic efforts to save homes.
I was thinking about today, and I certainly hope there's a way we can thank those guys that are saving
absolutely.
everything.
That'll come.
Sure
It'll come in a few days' time, I think. Yeah.
On it, so.
They've done an amazing job altogether. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for all your hard work too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So I know you don't want this to be about you because you represent
well, yeah, I'm
the
just
people in
one of
Peachland.
1,600 people.
But you know what
being
everybody
evacuated.
feels like here because you're one of the people that's been evacuated from your home. What did that feel like yesterday?
It feels very anxiety-provoking, really, because there's a lot of uncertainty about how dangerous it is, whether you're going to lose your home, and or worse, whether there's going to be any actual injury to people or two. So we're really fortunate that there were, in fact, only 3 homes that have been destroyed and no loss of life at all, including among firefighting staff. So we really have the kind of emergency response teams to be responsible for that, and they've done an amazing job.
And we are getting word that the fire is now 75% contained. This is excellent news. You can see in behind me that the smoke is really cleared. It's very calm right now. The winds are very calm, but about every 90 seconds or so we do see a helicopter go by, so firefighters are still working very, very hard, Mike. And coming up a little bit later on, I have a great story about a rancher who is looking for his very, very small calf.
Coming up right after the break.
He may have lost the battle with an alligator, but see how modern technology just won the war. Next, as CTV News continues.
Coming up, lost in the woods during a wildfire. A rancher's search for a calf missing in a burning forest. We'll go back to Peachland for a live update with Tamara Taggart next. A state of emergency still remains in effect in Peachland tonight as that aggressive wildfire continues to burn. We're going to go back now to Tamara Taggart on assignment in Peachland with our top story. And Tamara, besides the homes there, a lot of livestock under threat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the many people affected by the fire is Carl Wilkes. He runs Wilkes Ranch outside of Peachland, and when the fire was approaching, he loaded his livestock into a truck to take them to safety. But when the truck stopped to help another stranded animal, things got a little complicated and a calf went missing.
Yeah, we have a missing calf. I had about 15 head of
roping cattle that we started to haul out of here last night. And the 2 smaller calves we put on a separate trailer, and that trailer got pulled over and asked if they could haul another horse. There was 1 horse left over at a neighbor's place, and when they opened up the trailer door to try and get this other horse in, the 1 calf jumped out. And so we've been out here all afternoon. We're all since about 8 o'clock this morning trying to find this calf, and it's been spotted probably 6 or 7 times, but we're always about 5 minutes behind it, and we haven't seemed to be able to find it yet. So
are they going to let you go in to look for it?
We're hoping. We're asking the RCMP if I can go back into West Bank and get a couple of my horses and come back in and hopefully go in on horseback and see if we can't spot him, and that's what we're hoping for now.
And how's your ranch? Is everything okay with your home?
Everything's okay with the home. We've been in there because there was 2 horses left there. We went in and fed those earlier on, and everything's still standing. Nothing's burnt. Across the road there's quite a bit of damage, but our place is just fine.
And you got all your animals out?
We got everything out last night by about 7 o'clock, so it was good.
Except for the 1 little guy.
Except for the 1 little guy that managed to escape.
And we have some good news. Look what happened just over an hour ago. Carl and his ranch hands found the little 3-month-old calf. Carl says the calf was likely very scared during its night in the burning forests around Peachland. He says he's okay and probably very keen to see his mom again because he's very hungry. Well, stay with CTV for continuing coverage of the fire in Peachland. We'll continue to update the situation online, and we'll be back tonight at 11:30 and first thing tomorrow with CTV Morning Live. For now, let's go back to Mike in Vancouver.
All right, Tamara, thanks very much. Live in Peachland tonight. Thanks for sharing part of your evening with us. Have a great Monday evening. Good night.
Night. We'll see you a little later.
Shark fin soup is causing a lot of controversy in Metro Vancouver, and tonight a CTV News investigation is being described as a bombshell. Lab tests from samples we collected confirm many of the fins being sold here come from what some scientists call endangered species. Mi Jung-Lee reports, and we should warn you, some of the pictures in the story are graphic.
About 2 ounces of shark fins were put in here.
Shark fin soup, a traditional Chinese delicacy served at special events as a prestige item, is prepared in minutes at the Jade Seafood Restaurant.
It's boiling now, right?
The bowl is preheated to keep the soup boiling. Just as heated, the debate over whether it should be served at all.
I don't think that anybody has the cultural right to destroy an entire group of species.
What we are fighting for is the right to eat what we want to eat.
Shark fin trade critics and scientists say finning is inhumane and is killing off endangered sharks.
Well, we've known for a while that about 38 million sharks are killed each year, but we haven't known the detail of necessarily which sharks are being killed.
In local shops that sell fins, merchants tell CTV they don't know a lot about the animals.
Do you know what kind of sharks these are? I don't know. No.
So CTV purchased some fins to try to find out exactly what's for sale. The Animal Defense League also bought dozens of dried fins from Vancouver and Richmond. All the fins were sent to a cutting-edge lab at the University of Guelph for DNA testing. Out of 59 samples, 76% of the fins came from sharks that are threatened or endangered, according to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, also called the IUCN list.
To have DNA analyses that absolutely prove that endangered or threatened species being sold in Vancouver, that's a bombshell. And I think really now it's going to change the entire face of the debate.
Several fins tested came from hammerhead sharks.
Hammerhead sharks are in a terrible position. In parts of the world, their numbers have declined by up to 99%.
Despite the fact scientists consider these fins to be from endangered sharks, it's perfectly legal to sell them in Canada. Because under the Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species, only 3 sharks are considered endangered. And we didn't find any fins from those species. And that's the endangered list this restaurant chooses to stick with. Mi Jung-Lee, CTV News, Richmond.
And if you want to see more on our investigation, including the DNA results and the sharks involved, you can go to our website, bc.ctvnews.ca.
A CTV News investigation into shark fins being sold in Metro Vancouver is being described tonight as a game changer. People pushing for a ban on shark fin soup say the story we aired last night will strengthen the case for a crackdown. CTV's Mi-Jung Lee reports.
The hammerhead shark, a majestic creature that's also targeted for its fins.
Somewhere between 1 and 3 million are killed each year for the soup fin trade.
When CTV had fins from Metro Vancouver stores DNA tested, we discovered some of the fins came from hammerhead sharks, a species that is endangered according to a prestigious scientific organization that tracks animal populations, the IUCN.
Absolutely shocking. There's no question whether these sharks are endangered. They're absolutely endangered.
Of the 59 fin samples tested with a leading-edge barcoding system, 76% were from threatened or endangered sharks.
It gives great credibility to what we're doing in Vancouver.
Councillor Kerry Jang has forwarded CTV's DNA test results to his staff and to other municipalities. He's also calling on the federal government to ban the importation of all shark fins. That's exactly what MP Finn Donnelly's private members' bill is demanding.
I think this information really strengthens the need for national legislation. Canada can become a world leader by enacting an importation ban.
Supporters of shark fin soup like restaurant owner David Chung want to leave the issue to the federal government. No doubt he's encouraged by his recent photo op with Conservative MP Alice Wong enjoying a bowl of soup. As for the DNA findings, what do you think of this list then?
They can put as many endangered species lists on their list. Who are they anyway? I mean,
They're scientists.
Certain scientists.
David Chung calls the lobby to ban fins cultural discrimination. He says more customers have been ordering shark fin soup lately. Some, he says, are angry. Others perhaps worried the dish will soon become extinct.
So, Mi-Jung, I guess the takeaway from this seems to be that a lot of shark species listed as endangered are still legal. Is that going to change?
Mike, under an international treaty, only 3 shark species have trade restrictions. The rest, like hammerheads, are fair game for now. That could change next year if countries vote to include fish like hammerheads. CTV asked the federal government if they would support tighter controls on the shark fin trade, but I have yet to hear back. Tamara, Mike?
It's every homeowner's worst nightmare. Your washing machine goes on the fritz and causes massive flood damage.
Yeah, it happened to one couple, and Steel is on their side tonight. Linda, I guess they're not happy with Whirlpool.
They're not happy. They have a very big and expensive beef, actually. It was kind of like their brand new Whirlpool washing machine was possessed, turning itself on in the middle of the night and causing tens of thousands of dollars damage with the flood. And the fight with Whirlpool has turned this young couple's life upside down.
Yeah, so do you know when the plumbing guy is coming again?
Jamie Clarkson and his girlfriend Shannon are literally living out of a suitcase these days. They've been forced to live in this downtown hotel for a month now.
We're living on top of each other with a cat in 300 square feet right now.
Yeah.
Is that what we're in?
They had no choice. Their East Vancouver townhome is upside down after their brand new Whirlpool washer turned itself on in the middle of the night and began overflowing.
There's a waterfall coming from here down to my little landing over here and then onto our floor.
The malfunctioning washer had been pouring water onto the main floor long enough to seep into the basement and set off the fire alarm.
Pink water was coming through the pot lights because of all the insulation in the floor. So it was dyeing the carpets that were down there, and it was panic.
The damage was extensive. Holes had to be cut in the ceilings. Baseboards and flooring were ripped up, walls repainted. Desperate, Jamie called Whirlpool.
Help us here, help. Your product has temporarily ruined our way of living.
Whirlpool was only willing to fix the malfunctioning washer with a $100 replacement part. Jamie and Shannon wanted it gone.
I don't know who would want that washer dryer back in their house after it's probably cost us $45,000 of damage.
The young couple was getting nowhere with Whirlpool, so in desperation, they called us.
I needed your help. Nobody seemed to be able to do anything for me, so I pleaded my case to you.
So we got in touch with Whirlpool, and within 48 hours, the problem was addressed. Whirlpool refused to do an interview with us, but did send us this brief email to say the Whirlpool Corporation provided a resolution to Mr. Clarkson. He was pleased with our offer to have both his washer and dryer exchanged for upgraded models at no charge. Jamie and Shannon are anxious to get out of this hotel room and back to their normal lives.
More condo owners are coming forward almost by the hour, all with tales of malfunctioning Whirlpool washing machines.
It's a condo owner's nightmare. The washing machine malfunctions and causes a devastating flood. It happened at this brand new East Vancouver strata.
Like it was just rushing out of that suite.
Condo owner Elspeth Sage saw a carpet of watery bubbles seeping under the door of her neighbor's suite. She quickly called building maintenance.
They just did what they could to stem the tide in front of the door, which was now probably 30 feet down the hallway. And the water kept coming. Like it just kept spewing out.
The flood traveled down 4 or 5 floors, causing extensive damage to multiple suites. The strata manager warned all residents not to leave the Whirlpool washers installed in every suite unattended while in use. This condo owner is incensed.
It's not just the machines, it's the damage. Like we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage in a brand new building.
Whirlpool refuses to do an interview about the flood claims, but sent us an email that says, "We have checked our claims and litigation data and did not find similar cases to those you describe. At this time, we have no information that would indicate a trend or a problem." That's not acceptable to the residents affected by floods they claim were caused by Whirlpool's washing machine.
Ideally, I'd like to see those machines replaced.
Consumers are angry and they want Whirlpool, the world's largest home appliance maker, held accountable.
Courtney McFadden was doing laundry in her brand new East Vancouver condo last fall when her top-loading Whirlpool washing machine began to overflow, sending water cascading into the living room.
If it was like a steady stream, like it made it all the way over here.
The flood caused about $25,000 damage. She had to pay a $5,000 deductible. Courtney was shocked.
Now, in addition to Courtney's flood story, we now know of another 15 cases of flooding in Metro Vancouver connected to the exact same model of washing machine. We've now confirmed at least 20 major floods in Metro Vancouver linked to the same model of Whirlpool washer. And Whirlpool is now confirming it's addressing problems at least 3 brand new housing developments in the Vancouver area. Angry consumers want to know why North America's largest appliance manufacturer is not issuing a recall.
Is it lunchtime?
The Murrow family's life was turned upside down this spring. They were forced to move into a hotel for a month with baby Peter in tow after their top-loading Whirlpool washing machine, like this one, overflowed and caused a major flood in their brand new Burnaby townhouse.
It was just crazy. And then as it was running down the side of the wall here as well, and it ran down our neighbor's side and the other side of us as well, the floor was completely destroyed already.
The flood caused over $30,000 damage, and the Murrows were angry. Their neighbor had just days before suffered a $50,000 flood caused by the same washing machine. And a Whirlpool technician had given their machine the all clear just hours before their suite was flooded.
Sources in the appliance industry say this problem could be even bigger because there are very few stackable washing machines made for condo buildings, and this Whirlpool model is in thousands of suites in the Lower Mainland.
There is a dramatic new twist tonight in a CTV consumer investigation into flooding Whirlpool washing machines.
Linda Steele has been on the case for weeks, and she joins us now with the latest.
And Linda, you've uncovered proof Whirlpool knew it had potential problems months ago, but just didn't bother telling customers.
This has been such a frustrating investigation, the most frustrating ever. For weeks, Whirlpool has just dodged our request for an interview, insisting it had absolutely no knowledge of a flooding problem with its popular stacking washer. But that all changed when an industry insider, a proverbial deep throat, got in touch and offered up a damaging bit of information.
Well, this washing machine comes on by itself.
Andrea DeMello is one unhappy landlord. Her condo is being renovated for the second time in 7 months after the suite's brand new Whirlpool washing machine overflowed not once, but twice.
It's just not acceptable. We're in a brand new condo using a brand new machine. These things shouldn't be happening. These machines are faulty.
The first flood caused by the Whirlpool washer was in April. The second was in late October, when Andrea's tenants reported the machine turned itself on in the middle of the night, flooding the condo, the common areas, and the neighboring 2 units. At first, Whirlpool claimed the machine was used improperly.
This is not rocket science. A washing machine, who doesn't know how to use a washing machine in these days and times? So telling us that the machine was not used properly in a brand new machine, it just seems like a ridiculous comment.
The double floods did massive damage, costing Andrea DeMello tens of thousands of dollars in deductibles and repairs. It's a story we've heard over and over and over and over again. In fact, Andrea DeMello is the 21st consumer to get in touch with CTV, reporting a massive flood claim associated with the same Whirlpool stackable washer. When asked to comment about the cases on October 9th, Whirlpool told CTV News that we have no information that would indicate a trend or a problem.
Whirlpool continued to deny our request for an interview until we got our hands on this. It's a memo sent by Whirlpool to independent service technicians across North America.
The technical service pointer warns that the washer at the center of the Metro Vancouver floods and 7 other machines made by Whirlpool may overfill, that the pressure switches will send incorrect water level readings to the timer. The date of the technical memo, May 2012. Bottom line, Whirlpool knew it had a potential flooding problem with its washing machine, but didn't tell consumers. We showed the Whirlpool memo to the head of the Consumers Association of Canada.
I think it's an absolute disgrace. They should be ashamed of themselves, not only for the fact that they didn't admit it, but they actually tried to cover it up.
Andrea DeMello is outraged and wants her Whirlpool washer replaced immediately.
This is like a time bomb waiting to happen. Because if it's happened in my apartment twice and thrice in this building, and we have all the same machines, who's to say it doesn't happen again?
Another resident in Andrea's condo building also had a damaging flood caused by the same Whirlpool washer. So in August, Whirlpool sent a team of technicians to the new Surrey complex to inspect and repair all the machines. That was done before Andrea's washer flooded for a second time in October. I think you can see her frustration on this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what does Whirlpool have to say about all of this?
We have asked for an interview 5, 6 times and always been denied over and over again. So we decided to send Whirlpool a copy of this memo to say, okay, then what about this? And lo and behold, Whirlpool is now apologizing to consumers, offering to pay insurance deductibles, and thanking CTV News for alerting it to the problem in the first place.
Oh,
so,
nice, yes.
Why no recall or consumer advisory? That's the big question, and stay tuned for Whirlpool's response tomorrow at 6. Now, we've been trying to get Whirlpool to talk for a month now, but it has repeatedly denied our request for an interview. Dozens of consumers in Metro Vancouver have come to us reporting massive flooding problems with the same stackable Whirlpool washer. Whirlpool had insisted no issue, no reason to issue a recall until we uncovered a proverbial smoking gun memo, and that finally got Whirlpool talking. The evidence against Whirlpool has been mounting.
They're making a faulty product, a machine that turns on by itself. How does that even happen?
2 floods in this brand new East Vancouver condo building.
Obviously, there's something seriously wrong with those machines.
3 floods in this East Van strata.
I asked if there was a recall. She says there is no recall. All the way to this back corner here.
A $50,000 flood in this Vancouver townhouse.
This is so obviously a problem. And how can you not admit that's a problem?
2 devastating floods in this Burnaby townhouse.
Running down the side of the wall here.
2 more floods in this Surrey condo building.
It's been horrendous. It's been a nightmare for us for the last 6 months.
All linked to the same new Whirlpool stackable washing machine. Whirlpool's reaction? An email saying, we have no information that would indicate a trend or a problem.
I don't trust it.
As more victims came forward to CTV, we pushed Whirlpool for an interview. It refused multiple requests until we got our hands on this. A memo from Whirlpool sent to independent service technicians warning that the washer at the center of the Metro Vancouver floods and 7 other machines made by Whirlpool may overfill. That the pressure switches will send incorrect water level readings to the timer. A simple kit could fix the problem. The date of the memo? This May, months before our investigation began.
I'm surprised that their inability to accept responsibility for problems that they know existed and for all the hokey pokey that they've gone to sort of cover up.
We sent the memo to Whirlpool for reaction. And within hours, company executives were on the phone trying to explain it.
We did a service bulletin on that issue because we are identifying it as a potential problem. So our service folks are diagnosing issues in the field. We want them to be aware of it so that they aren't, misdiagnosing and requiring callbacks.
So what about all those consumers hit with expensive floods? Shouldn't they have been the ones to know that there might have been a problem with that machine that could have been fixed with a simple repair?
Well, I guess I don't really. What I can say about that is that with everyone who has filed a claim with us, we're working very quickly to resolve those claims.
Why is there not a recall?
Encourage those people to call us right away. And again, I can look into that a little bit more deeply and see what I can find out.
Is Whirlpool considering any kind of a consumer advisory or a recall?
We are very sensitive to cases like this, and we have processes in place. We have a 100-year history of putting really quality products in homes throughout the world. This is something we take seriously.
That's not good enough for flooding victims like Stephanie and George Murrow.
Own up to it, do a recall, get them out of people's homes.
Whirlpool now admits it has received 49 general water damage claims from consumers whose washing machines overflowed. Now, that number will likely change because in the past 24 hours, we've heard from 10 more consumers in Metro Vancouver who've experienced damaging floods in recent weeks. Whirlpool is still refusing to do an on-camera interview, but it did send CTV a corporate video statement from a senior VP offering up a long-awaited apology to consumers. Have a look.
We're aware of isolated reports of overfills in our washer-dryer combo units that led to water damage, primarily in condominiums and apartment complexes. We apologize for any inconvenience that some of our customers have experienced. We are also working diligently to verify and resolve claims already brought to our attention, including reimbursing consumers for any deductibles that they've paid.
Now, we've left a link to the complete Whirlpool video statement on our website. Now, Whirlpool insists this problem is isolated and affects less than 1% of the 11,000 washers shipped to Canada since February of 2011. But it is now actively addressing consumer complaints. Whirlpool says it has set up a special hotline for consumers who've experienced flooding. The number to call is 866-333-4408.
Well, for 9 years, we have been featuring young athletes who love the thrill of playing sports. Some are talented, some struggle, but all are in it for the right reasons. This evening, a young man who shows us how important hanging out at the rink is.
We shouldn't be surprised growing up in this playground environment with two older brothers. Our prospect, Dane, has some great skills. Hockey is his first love, and his scouting reports are good.
I can't even believe how much he loves hockey. It's amazing. Yeah, he's a pretty big hitter, too.
Dane has had his special hockey moment.
Probably the best game I've ever played. Tryouts were over, but they were still making cuts for the PBA2 team. And I went out there in one shift. We were down 2-0 or 2-1 or something, and I went out and scored 2 goals, and we won it.
Really?
Yeah, so it was kind of hard to cut me there.
He is the perfect example of big things coming in little packages. He wasn't cut from the team, but he was stopped.
I remember just thinking, no, the whole time.
It was Boxing Day 2010. Dane wasn't feeling well. His dad took him to the hospital. An older brother was already sick with strep throat. They were expecting a similar diagnosis.
It's funny, I just waited to hear, thinking, it's just strep throat, needs antibiotics. And I remember my phone rang in my hand, and it was Troy saying, you gotta come. It's really bad.
Dane was having a hemorrhagic stroke. Immediately, he underwent 5 hours of surgery.
We went through several days of literally not knowing if he was gonna make it.
After a 19-day stay at Children's Hospital, he was out of the woods. The opponent was no longer the visiting hockey team. Dane was learning everything all over again.
Now lift your leg up. Yeah. Get that hip up.
Good, nice keeping that hip up.
Although not 100%,
Think of that heel being long. Good job.
he is back involved in some sports.
Feel the burn in that hip. Good job.
Contact with balls are allowed,
Oh,
not people.
go.
But he is out and active.
That's pretty fun. Like when we're doing push-ups, he makes me count. 7. And I have to like scream 1 and 2 and stuff like that. 10.
Perfect. While karate has helped, hockey did leave a void.
Probably my favorite part of hockey was being with my buddies.
Buddies in the hockey community didn't forget about Dane. They were a rock of support for his entire family through the ordeal. His team will wear a special patch on their jersey when they travel to the world-renowned Quebec tournament in a few weeks. And since he taught himself to walk again,
We're live at the North Shore Winter Club.
with help from Dad,
Oh, what a save!
Dane has reinvented himself at the rink.
Oh, it's still in there. Jacob Fournier, here we go. He's in alone. Shoots. Yeah! Snipes one top corner. Ouch, that's gotta hurt for the goalie.
Seeing Dane around the team at the rink has been therapeutic for everyone.
He loves hockey, very knowledgeable kid, and it's just incredible how he's bounced back, and he's still, part of the team. The guys love him.
Ripping in.
They love to see him, they love to hear him. And like everything with Dane, he's constantly improving.
He gets crunched. I think I have better words to say now and like better sentences and easier to put names together. The puck comes out. Shoots. Yeah!
Words, sentences, they make up a story. And Dane's is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a goal.
It's one of only 2 specialized teams in the world, and it's based right here in Vancouver. For the past several months, we've been given extraordinary access to the infant transport team, a group of highly trained paramedics working with the neonatal intensive care unit at BC Women's Hospital. They stand by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to transport our most precious packages. Life. It doesn't always begin quite as planned.
Babies don't get sick during regular working hours. They get sick on their timetable.
The newborn ICU at Women's Hospital
gonna have a little listen to your heart, okay?
treats up to 60 of these precious packages every day.
We get the sickest of the sick babies here at BC Women's Hospital.
From preemies weighing as little as a pound to babies in desperate need of critical care. Some 1,400 little patients pass through these doors every year.
When the phone goes off, you're never quite sure what's at the end of that call.
But before they can access this state-of-the-art facility,
A 2-year-old in Ridge Meadows, amphetamine overdose.
they have to get here first.
I just thought I'd let you know we're on our way out.
Matthew Coughlin is one of a special group of paramedics.
These are precious packages, and we want to be very careful with them.
BC's infant transport team, one of only 2 such services in the world.
They are our eyes, they are our ears, and they are our hands to bring those babies back to us.
They've been specially trained to handle some of the most vulnerable and fragile patients in the province.
The majority of our patients are unable to tell us what their issues are.
When tiny lives are threatened,
Can I have a 60C syringe, please?
Hey, Deborah, yes, Simon's requesting the helicopter.
speed is of the essence.
That can be the difference between life and death, certainly.
Matthew's ride is a $5 million hospital in the sky.
The mission? To go anywhere in BC at any time. To pick up and get their precious cargo back to BC Women's Hospital for some of the best care in the world.
Oh, there's all your hair.
The transport team runs 24/7, 365 days a year. Tonight, there's an urgent call from Fort St. John.
The baby was born yesterday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Apparently the baby's having some difficulty transitioning.
The helicopter may be fast, but a Learjet is faster. In just 5 hours, this patient is back on the ground and en route to the intensive care unit at BC Women's Hospital.
Welcome to Vancouver. I'm coming to work with the highest trained care providers probably in the world. How you feeling there, sweetie? If you want, you can put your head back and have a little nap.
On any given day, the transport team may be using an ambulance, helicopter, or aircraft. Each one fully outfitted to carry an incubator and medical gear.
That's our motto, right? If you're ready for everything, nothing will ever happen.
Not only is the team caring for their tiny patient,
How are you feeling?
okay, but often the parents as well.
This is probably the most stressful thing that's ever going to happen to her, so you can't forget that you have to deal with the mom's issues as well. Who wants another pancake?
Matthew can relate to what parents go through.
How'd you sleep there at Mannix? 2 thumbs up? That's awesome, dude.
He has 5 kids of his own.
Shotgun.
And that makes this career feel close to home.
They say, look after my child, and I say, today I'm going to look after it like it's my child. It's my favorite part of the job. That's why I had so many kids. I just like snuggling them so much.
It was a chance visit to an ambulance station 27 years ago that led Matt down this career path. For the transport team, every day is a new opportunity to turn a potential tragedy into another success story.
At the end of the day, I get to go home to my kids, and that's, as the team, that's what we're trying to sort of accomplish with these people. We want their children to go home with them.
Yeah, there really is a remarkable team. Couple of questions for you. Okay, the baby from Fort St. John that was brought in at the beginning of the story,
Yes.
any update?
Yes, there is. It's baby Walker, and he is happily at home in Fort St. John with his big brothers Cody and Kyle. I know they're watching tonight, but baby Walker is doing just fine, and they are grateful for the help that they received from Women's Hospital.
All right, so some good news there. Now, this team deals with a lot of very sophisticated, high-tech equipment. We saw that in your item there, but they need one other very important piece of equipment.
Yeah, there's a desperate need for an incubator, a new incubator. And believe it or not, one of those incubators costs $140,000. And the Canucks for Kids Foundation was generous. They donated $70,000 towards a new incubator, but they still need $70,000 to get that incubator. So we will have a link on our website. After the news tonight, we will post that story. And there will be a link to BC Women's Hospital and how you can help achieve their goal.
Team doing some very special work, work that I don't think many people really know about, well, until now.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Tamara.